Hey everyone, welcome to the Limitless Legal Nurse Consulting Podcast. I have my special guest, Tim Kane, with me today. Thank you, Tim, so much for joining me on this podcast. I really am looking forward to having this conversation with you, getting to know you a little bit more. So thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here, and I think this could be fun and exciting.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Tim, tell me a little bit about where you're at in the world. Where geographically are you at?
I am sitting in Buffalo, New York. I am a
Oh,
huge NFL fan. I am 3 miles from the Buffalo Bills Stadium.
oh,
When
nice.
they score a touchdown, I can hear the roar from my house.
That's awesome. Do you get to many of the games yourself?
I do. I try to make 1 to 2 a year, if
Yeah.
not more. And the other exciting thing about that right now is the across the street from the stadium, they're building a new stadium that's $2.4 billion. And
Wow.
it's just interesting to watch that come up.
Yeah.
They dug a hole in the ground that I didn't think
Mhm.
anybody could dig that deep.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh. How long ago did they start that?
They started that last September, and they're saying that's going to be up and running for the 26th season.
Wow. So another
That's
year,
incredible.
year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we watch out here in LA. We watch SoFi being built, and that went up faster than we thought too. And that thing is like
It's
a
amazing.
airport hangar is what it looks like. So
Right.
you're up in upstate New York, and did that make you also a hockey fan? Are you a Sabres
Oh,
fan?
100% NHL the whole way.
Okay,
We
perfect.
we we proudly own the longest history of playoff drought this season. We are 13 years without a playoff appearance. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I actually own a pair of Buffalo Sabres socks. If you can
Nice.
believe that. Yes,
Yes.
I am a hockey player, and every year my girlfriends and I go on a trip and play in a pond hockey tournament. So a few years ago we went up to upstate New York and played in Binghamton
Sure.
and had a great time. One of our favorite trips was that trip. So I was up there for a little while. I really enjoyed it. It was a little chilly, but
A lot of
it was
beer
great.
companies love to sponsor those, like
Oh
especially the
yeah.
Canadian beer companies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Labatt's and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got
That's
plenty
great.
of beanies with them.
Hmm.
Well,
Love
that's
it.
good to know. Yeah. So you're my East Coast sports fanatic. I love that. That's
Yes.
great.
Through and through.
Through and through. Awesome. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your career. Like, when did you become a nurse? Tell me before the legal nurse side of it. Tell me your story before that.
I could lay it all on you. Yes.
Lay it out. Lay it out there.
I don't mind saying this. I'm 56 years old. I just turned it last week.
All right, you're right,
Um,
just ahead of me a little bit. Not by much,
my
though. Not by
my
much.
not by much, no.
Nope.
But my story, nursing wise, legal nurse wise, goes back prior to me becoming a nurse. In the
Mm,
early 90s, I actually in Buffalo, West New York, long story short, every kid, especially guys in your 20s, everybody wants to be a cop. Everybody wants to be a police officer, this and that. I did that. And I worked in a small town, which was about 3 square miles, and had one red light, and I had a hospital. And the long story short is you become employed in these small town police departments with hopes of becoming into the state police, the county sheriff's department, this and that. That never happened. And I started to get to become 29, 30, 31 years old. And girls don't really like guys that still live with their mom. Yeah.
got it. Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm like, I have to do something else.
Mm,
So I was that hospital that was inside my jurisdiction. I was in that ER all the time, and I
mm,
really got to know the nurses. So that sent me to nursing school.
mhm,
And so then nursing school goes on by for about 10 years. And then I get publications in the mail, become a legal nurse consultant. And that's where all this started. That's
mhm.
actually it's a longer story than that, but that's the short
Yeah,
version. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not that far behind you, and I can probably picture the publications that showed up in the mail because those were the same ones that showed up in the mail many years ago for me, but I didn't go down that road until many years later. So were you trying to get into the police department, into the state police department? Was it like an application process that you just kept
Right. And a lot of politics, a lot of political, and it just,
ah,
and I just gave up
yeah,
after a while. I
yeah.
gave up. Yeah.
Did you regret that? Were you sad when
No,
you went
no.
to nursing school?
Look at law enforcement today in the
Yeah,
last 10,
yeah,
15 years, what those guys have
right.
had to go through. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that's a good point.
they can't give the jobs away. And when I was taking the tests in the application
Mhm,
project,
mhm.
or a process, it was hundreds of guys in a auditorium all doing the same thing. Now there's no,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's a totally different thing now. Okay,
yes.
so when you started as a nurse, you worked in the ER, or did you work somewhere else?
No, you know what was really fun is I graduated from a private community college in Buffalo called Trocaire College. Long story short, I got my LPN before I graduated.
Okay.
And everybody in Western New York and Buffalo, we don't hate winters, but we
Mhm.
love an opportunity to get out.
Right.
I'll get right to the point. I had travel nurse recruiters, even though I didn't have any experience, find me travel nurse contracts in
Mm.
Florida.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
my first RN job was a travel nurse job in St. Petersburg.
Okay.
And they were like, "Sure, fine, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take care of him.
Train
You know,
you.
he could do something."
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know,
So you were a green nurse and you were like up for the challenge to
right?
travel.
And I think nursing in general is that way. None of us know everything, and you have to just hit the ground running and just roll with the changes and the punches. And the ones that can do that and survive will survive. You know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So then in St. Petersburg, what was your first role as a nurse? What was the specialty?
Oh, we
What
worked on I worked telemetry floors.
Okay.
I was a travel nurse in Florida. I would go back and forth between Buffalo and Florida for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And so I would
Only
do
in the
like,
winter?
yes, yeah, they'd hold my
That's
job for
awesome.
me.
Yeah, wow. Wow, that's awesome.
Then I go down to Naples, then I go over to
Yeah.
Boca Raton,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
oh, it was great. But then after
That's
a while,
great.
I'm like, okay, now mom's getting older. Got to settle in one spot, maybe do the whole family thing, and
Mhm.
so then I decided to go back. I became a nurse in corrections.
Oh, okay. Because of your
Um,
background?
right. And plus,
Yeah.
so all that cop time had public pension time. So let's get the pension rolling
Mm.
again. You,
Got
you
it.
know.
Got it. It was all
And so I
related.
put about 10 years in the Department of Corrections. I couldn't take that anymore. So
Yeah.
then I went to the ER
I see. Okay.
for another
Locally.
7 or 8. Niagara Falls Memorial ER. I was
Okay.
right on the Canadian border. I could
Yep.
see Canada right from the lobby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So telemetry, travel, ER, corrections.
Right. That's my whole new, right.
Well-rounded.
Yeah.
Well-rounded. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So then, so how many years was that? Were you practicing as a nurse before you
From
started dating?
2002 to 2021. So I guess
Okay.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long time. Long time. Okay. So then tell me a little bit about how you decided because you had gotten those publications before. So you already knew of legal nursing, like myself.
Mhm.
When you decided to go, tell me a little bit about the story of how you decided to go into it and why and all of those things.
So it was around 2010, 2011 that my mailbox is getting loaded. And I'm making an assumption that the course authors would just go to the state licensing committee and everybody's address is there. And so that's what filled up our mailbox.
Hmm.
So I took a course. It was the most basic, and that was around 2012. And then I just started, I don't know if you want to get to there. I just
Yeah.
started marketing, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh, from then on. So
right from
so
then
from
on.
from 2012, you started marketing yourself. Had
Right.
you had any marketing experience, any marketing knowledge? You just kind
No,
of went for it?
I just kind of like, I can do this.
Mhm.
You can't really do this today. And is my biggest marketing success was,
Mhm.
okay, go to Google, personal
Mhm.
injury firms near me.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
would get find every email address, and I bombarded those guys, and they
Yeah.
responded. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Yeah, come
Yeah.
on in. We'd love to talk to you. Oh,
Yeah.
do you want to go to our independent medical exams? We hate going to those. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So
Uh,
right off the bat,
Right.
you say that they are not, but that's actually been my success as well, is my email marketing.
Right.
It's not, I have a social media background, but most of my success is through email marketing. So if you send the right email, you get it. So they were welcoming you with open arms. You went and met them. Were you like, okay, I have found exactly what I want to do now. Forget bedside nursing. Is that what
Well,
it looked like for you, or?
it did, but I didn't have the cojones yet. You know what I mean?
Ah. Mhm.
Um, my kids at that time were 2 and 3 years old. Now
Mhm.
they're 15 and 14, somewhere in that neck
Mhm.
of the woods.
Mhm.
And I just, it was just a little nervous to leave the bedside. I left the bedside in 21. I probably could have left it in 2016, 2017. I was that busy. I just didn't have the nerve to do it. It was, it was
Yeah.
scary to
It's a
do.
big
And,
jump. Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
glad that I did it and I haven't looked back.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you, now looking back at it, do you wish you would have jumped earlier,
I
or?
do. Yeah, I do.
Ah.
I do because it opens up the time to dedicate more to the LNC world and the LNC business.
Yeah. So you felt that, now you felt that if you would have done that earlier, you would have had more time,
Mhm.
and all of those fears would have gone away,
Right.
which
I
is, and would you say the same thing today? Like back then, um, there were obviously less LNCs, I'm guessing, out there.
oh God, it's
Um,
tripled since I started.
Right. So would you say the same thing now, that you would have still taken that same leap with the number of LNCs in this world now? Basically what I'm getting at is, um the big fear of, is there enough work out there for these LNCs? So,
Well,
making that decision to jump.
that's what I tell people. I say don't jump until you have that confidence in you. You've got to
Mhm.
look at your invoices. You got to look at how many current clients you have. Some people
Mhm.
will tell me and they don't have a client and they'll say, "I'm going to leave the bedside because I can do this." I'm like, "Don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna regret it."
Yeah.
No, no one, in my opinion, no one should jump until they have at least great foundation of
Yeah.
repeat clients.
Of repeat clients. That's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask you next. Like, what would be the guideline of making that decision to jump? You've got repeat clients, you've got steady work,
Right.
you've got a backlog, maybe. I don't know,
Mhm.
right? I'm
Oh God,
guessing,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So that would be your guideline as to, okay, now it's time to leave the bedside. Not I have my first client. I love this so much. I'm going to make this work.
And you got to have like a really good foundation for yourself, like a business plan. Like you just can't like, "Oh, I'll just see how this goes." No, you have
Mhm.
to like, I'm going to attend IMEs. I have two clients that are sending me medical malpractice. I'm doing chronologies or, other summations and stuff like that.
Right. So
Uh,
good foundation overall. So
right.
an understanding of what you're getting yourself into, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So then, okay, let's just take that same person, and who's ready to jump, who's eager to jump and doesn't have that foundation. What would you say the best advice is to get that foundation, to make sure that they're ready?
Get one client and get that one client really under your belt who adores you and is satisfied with your work, and then get them to introduce you to others. This one paralegal, when I first started my first IME firm, said, "Hey, my friend Jane is over at Salino and Barnes, and they're looking for someone too. I'm going to send your name." That was after like I did like 5 of them, and then it
Hmm.
just snowballed.
Right,
But
right.
I have my one.
Yeah, the one
Uh,
that will give you the referral,
right.
and then it continues from there. So you know that your work product is worth referring someone to, is worth referring you to someone that
Correct.
they respect.
Right.
Yeah, I love that guideline, actually. I really love that guideline because that really does tell how, that you're strong enough to do this full time, right? If that's
Right.
who the person we're talking about. You're strong enough to do it full time because your work product is so good that they've referred you. That's really amazing advice. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
When you started in legal nursing, what do you think surprised you the most about it that you maybe didn't know, or there's misconception about it?
Oh, I think it's the lack. I shouldn't say the lack. I don't want to be mean, but
Mhm.
the law community, they may feel they do, or the law firm community, they don't have the medical knowledge that they think they do, or they think their paralegals do. I can
Mhm.
prove that to them. Almost throw me a case and tell me what you got going, and I could take it to the next level.
Right.
That
So
I
you
found surprising.
so you were they quick to admit that they didn't know, or did they come across as knowing and you proved to them that they didn't know?
Now, a little bit of both. Like the quick to admit that they didn't know. I had this one lady who was she was like 75 years old, passing in her car, hit by a school bus. All of a sudden she has major foot drop, she has all these neurological issues. Long story short, she had a chest contusion though, and the attorney was going after the whole foot drop, can't walk,
Mhm.
neurologic thing. She's in that ER and her tropes are going through the roof.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
and
Mhm.
then they even intubated her, and
Mhm.
I met him later, and I just kind of said that casually. He didn't even know that, you know.
Oh, yeah. So you were
And
surprised at that. You would think
I was
that
shocked at that because he had a
yeah.
paralegal look at all those records prior to me,
Mm,
and they do their
yeah.
timelines,
Mhm.
they copy paste,
Right.
you know.
Right. There's not a
Yeah,
true understanding about
no, there
what is
isn't at
going
all.
on.
No.
That's really great. And how do you say, if you were to give advice on that, because you didn't know until you knew that they didn't know. So knowing that now, like whoever's listening to this knows that now, okay, I'm going to
Right.
go in and I'm going to market myself to this attorney, and I know that they don't know as much as they think they know. What advice would you give them to show that?
What I say to attorneys, and I think this would be good for other legal nurses, is, ma'am or sir, when I read your client's chart, your medical records, it puts me at the bedside in the shoes with that patient. And I have a visual of exactly what's happening. I can figure out who the communication and what each communication with all the providers was doing, and I can almost build you a story that I can recite from reading your chart from a medical standpoint, where the layperson can't put themselves at the bedside by reading the chart. I can, at least.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And you know what that is that gives a visual. And when you,
Right.
and we, and, it's like you just said two things that stood out to me is it gives them a visual of a visual that they can't picture themselves at, nor can they picture their paralegal. So that's amazing. And a visual that and the fact that you said it tells a story,
Right.
which also their story is only limited to their knowledge. So by you sharing the fact that you can put yourself at the bedside and tell the story, also I see that making it incredibly valuable to attorneys. So I love both of those things that you share.
Mm.
That's it's so true, and that's not, and you're not even stepping on their toes by saying
No,
you
no,
really don't
no.
know what you're talking about.
I'm showing my value. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's an easy way to show your value without feeling like, because I think that a lot of people, I know for me, I haven't been doing this for that long. I've been a nurse for
Mhm.
25 years, but
Absolutely.
as a legal nurse, I'm still, making my way through that. So there's this fear of um not having enough knowledge to share with the attorney that says that I know what I'm doing, right? So the fear of saying that, instead you're just saying, hey, I've been by I've been a nurse for 25 years. I can put myself in the shoes of that. And it's an easy way. That's how I see it, is it's an easy way to show your value. Like
Right.
you
Correct.
said,
Yes.
it's an easy way to show your value without having to spit out your value, right?
Right.
To just spell it out. That's such great advice. I love that. Thank you. I think I'm going to take that and put that in my pocket too.
There you go. Love it.
So, okay, so you've been doing this a long time. I'm sure you've done every sort of case, possible.
Right.
Where would you say that do you still do every case possible, or would you say that you are more inclined to be referred to certain types of cases, certain type? I know that you have had some training that you shared on DMEs. Is that kind of your specialty? Tell me a little bit about, where you shine.
The first thing I want to say to answer what you said is any case that is offered to me or referred to me, I don't care what kind of experience I've had, I never say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think any other LNC should say no. Like
Yeah.
if you've been an orthopedic nurse and the cardiac tele case is coming, take it.
Mhm.
Just, find there's resources out there. I mean,
Yeah.
you have enough knowledge as a nurse anyway, even if you've been working orthopedic. Long story short, though, is take it because it will just work out for you.
Yeah.
The IMEs are probably 70 to 75%, maybe 80% of my income. All the rest is chronologies, timelines.
Mhm.
I get called for expert work for the prison cases
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
what do prisoners love to do? They love to sue.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Right.
there's a ton of that out there. So if anybody's in corrections and they think, "Oh, I'm a correctional nurse," I don't have much to offer as a LNC. You have a ton.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of correctional LNCs out there.
Right.
So from an IME standpoint, I average anywhere between, in the good months, probably 25 to 30, and if it's slower months, a month. In the slower months, I'm probably 18 to 20
Yeah.
IMEs. Yeah,
Yeah. So you've mastered the IME
right.
by
Yeah,
far.
it's
Yeah.
the docs know me when they come in. I have a rapport with
Mhm.
them.
Mhm.
They know how I'm going to be. They know if they
Mhm.
say something I don't like that I'm going to respond.
Right.
It's to the point where it's almost such a relationship. It's old hat.
Right. Right. Yeah. It
Yeah,
has become a second nature to you, I'm sure.
right.
Right.
And to
Okay.
them, yeah,
And to oh yeah, and to them, right. They know what to expect. Exactly.
right,
I'm sure.
right.
I'm sure. All right. So now I also, since you've been doing this for a while, where do you see yourself in the next like year, 2 years? I know that you're educating a lot of LNCs out there. I've seen, obviously. Do you see yourself continuing to educate, building your business even bigger? What does it look like to you?
I'm hoping to. I'm I have a great life right now. Oh, the other thing I like to say anytime I'm interviewed, I'm married to a wonderful woman who's a
Mhm.
school teacher who provides the health insurance. That's
That's the big kicker. I know.
without that, I wouldn't be sitting here today going, "Oh, blah blah blah. I just do this,
Yeah,
this, that."
no. It's that honestly, that's the reality of it. Yeah,
You
I
know,
can yeah, that's
if
a
I
big
if I needed health insurance, I'd be on some nurse manager's schedule probably right now. At
yeah.
least for a day or two a week. But
Right,
no,
right, right.
where was I going with that? Oh, I hope to be done with this cool little life I have now. Not done, but 62 is my I'm
Mhm.
56 now. 62 is my goal. I will never give this up.
Right.
I would like to just really pull back and have it so established
Yeah.
where I keep talking about Florida. I'm down in Florida and I
Oh,
open the laptop and
yeah.
let's see how many IMEs came today and how many cases are out there for malpractice that I
Yeah.
have people doing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
streams of income are still coming in.
Yeah.
That's
Man.
my plan. Yeah.
Right. Managing your business from
Right.
the pool. Yes.
Right.
That's
Right.
yes. That's awesome. Because you can. That's what's so great about it. You've worked so hard at this and you've established yourself, and you just continue to build your clientele and your those people that work for you. And yeah, that's like
Next
guys
week,
guys the limit.
I'm actually
Mhm.
traveling to Minnesota to market.
Oh, to market, really? Is it
Yeah.
an event? Are you going to an event?
That I'm holding.
Oh, that you're holding. Oh,
See, I think
fantastic.
this is a new marketing technique. If people want to
Okay.
take, I say good
Okay,
for you.
share.
I'm holding a happy hour for attorneys.
Oh,
Who doesn't want to go have a cocktail for nothing? You know?
right.
Yeah, and
Right.
I have it all over LinkedIn. And we have response.
Yeah.
How this whole thing started is some states have regulations against observers at independent medical exams.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota was such a state. They have
Mm.
since changed that. So I'm
Mm.
trying to bust in there, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a huge market to tap now
Mm-hmm.
for from
Right.
an LNC standpoint. And so I have a partner nurse in Minnesota now.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're just a week from today, we're gonna hold a happy hour, and it's just
Yeah.
gonna be in the. We have a room at a bar reserved.
Yeah.
Cocktails and hors d'oeuvres will be out.
Yeah.
We'll be giving our cards, and we'll be anybody who wants to talk
Educating.
to us.
Yeah.
We will speak to them. You
Yeah.
know,
That's what I was going to ask you. How did you choose Minnesota? But obviously you have a partner in
yeah,
Minnesota, which makes total sense on
right.
that. And it would be an easy thing to do. Um, so marketing that, you're marketing that on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Are you marketing it through emails to Minnesota attorneys? How are you marketing that?
Well, here's the other thing. I'm break down the curtain, and I'm going to share it. Is I have a social media marketer,
Ah, okay.
and
That you've
she's been
hired. Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I won't get into numbers, but it's
Yeah.
not that expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. You found the
You
right
know,
one.
yeah, you get the right one. Sends all my messages to attorneys on LinkedIn, has gotten me a couple hundred, if not 500 more connections, but
Yeah.
sends messages as me, responds as me,
Mm-hmm.
and then
That's
will send me a
amazing.
message. Okay, you have to call this guy because now I'm out.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't
Well,
know,
it's
I can't answer. You know,
yeah. No, you're doing exactly what you're saying. You're building your business away from you so that you're
right,
not, you're managing your time and balancing your time and utilizing the people that you can utilize. I love
right,
that. I'm a
right.
big fan of Fiverr. I've used them to launch this to grab emails, and it's been a game
What I'm
changer for me.
finding is the email addresses are not as out there as they were
Well,
15 years ago.
In California, they are because
Oh,
they're
see,
all
yeah.
listed on the Bar Association website.
Um, see,
So, yeah, it's been really nice
I
because
didn't know
they
that.
are, yeah, they're listed on the Bar Association. So it's not that hard to find them.
California DME nurses make great money. They make more
Oh
than I do
yeah,
out here.
yeah. No, I've had I'm still practicing full time as a
Right.
first assistant and doing my business. So getting to DMEs are challenging, but I've
Yeah,
had my share of requests and I've found some great DME, great nurses to do them. So
sure.
um I see the value in them, but for time purposes, I'm like, mm, I'm gonna hand this one to somebody else. You can make the
Exactly.
money.
And you still get the profit. Yeah. No, that's
Right.
the beauty of it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So obviously you've been doing this a while. You've got a marketing team.
Mhm.
Um, are you a part of any sort of business mastermind group or any sort of business related growth, anything?
I'm really not, and I hear
Yeah.
people that are.
Yeah.
There's like I can't think of the abbreviations. They go to these meetings,
Yeah.
and I think they even pay into these big groups,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
all this. Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm good.
But you
Yeah,
haven't needed to, right? I mean,
yeah. I just didn't
I
know.
obviously you're
Right,
doing the right things. You're building your
right.
business and you're, hiring people now. You're not up all hours of the night doing a
No.
business on your own. You've learned to delegate. You're a great
Oh,
delegator,
100%.
right? So you really haven't needed a mastermind. Okay. You've shared a ton of great tips already. What I was going to ask you is, what would you say is one of your great productivity hacks? Like, because a lot of nurses are doing this. while they're working full time, right? So when you were first juggling the two, how did you manage to juggle the two? What would you say was your biggest I don't know, time saver, or did you set priorities, things like that? What would you say is how to stay productive and still juggle all the things?
My first bunch of subs were all the ER nurses with me. It
Mhm.
worked.
Mhm. They
Um,
were your people.
I would be working in the ER
Mhm.
and I would get an IME request
Mhm.
and I would see that I'm on the schedule and I would just it'd be at the nurse's station. Hey, who wants to pick up an IME for me on such and such?
Yeah.
And the hands would go up.
Yeah.
See, and what I liked about that is because I knew all of them
Yeah.
and I knew they're not going to poach my clients or they're
Sure.
not going to like try to,
Sure.
there's so
Yeah.
many subs out there. If you're looking for subs, the ones I prefer are the ones that aren't interested in business. They want me to tell them where to go,
Yeah.
and what
I
to
totally
do.
get
And then
that.
I send them they don't want to know anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
totally get
so
that. Mhm.
that's how I handle a lot of time is I had a bunch of nurses at my disposal anytime I swipe the clock. Yeah,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So so basically you utilize those that around you,
right.
which we all have. Anyone that's worked in nursing has a bunch of nurses that work with them. So did you find that people were super eager to do it, or did you have to
Yes.
convince
Oh,
them, or
no. To do
oh,
something that's not bedside and I'm not taking care of patients and I'm not here, I'm gonna get mandated and you're gonna pay me what? Oh, I'll do
mhm.
it.
Yeah, so you didn't find any resistance. That's great. Yeah, no,
No,
yeah,
no. And
and
it came
the value, yeah, the value in that is that they're not looking to build their own business.
it, it
They
came to the
trust
point
you.
where like I was part-time, so I was 2 12-hour shifts
Hmm.
and you could do that and you can work 6 shifts a week if you want, but
Yeah,
people realized what I was doing and they were like, he will never pick up a third day because he's got
right.
that going on. That
Right.
was the reputation. Yeah.
Right, right.
Uh,
Yeah, I love that you said that because I'm in that boat right now. I'm out on leave for an injury, but playing hockey actually.
oh, there you go.
But when I go back, the 212s for health insurance,
Right. That's
it
what
makes a
right.
huge difference because I'm really busy in my business, which is great. But I also have two college kids that I have insurance for and myself. So
Right.
it's the reality of it. If I didn't have that, peace out.
See you later.
But we've got to hold on to our responsibilities and still juggle it all, which is
Exactly.
okay. It's doable, totally doable because you've done it and you just shared with us how you can do it.
Right.
Okay. Um, anything that you else you would like to share with the listeners? I know you've got this happy hour for your attorneys, which is a great share, and then you've got a training coming up. And this podcast episode will be um released in the early part of May. So,
Wonderful. That works because my training course, I have the training course, it's always up and available,
mhm,
but I like to run some promos. And
mhm,
the early part of May
mhm.
is National Nurses Week.
Ah, yes.
And if anybody watches us today on this podcast and emails me and says, I saw you on the podcast, I will send them a promo code for $95 off.
Beautiful. Oh,
I
that's
haven't come up with
great.
a promo code yet, so that's why I'm like
That's
struggling.
okay. No, no, that's perfect. I love that. Thank you for that. And I'm sure that
Yes.
people will reach out to you because that's
Right.
what's been great about this podcast is that I know personally that people have reached out to me saying that they've reached out to the guests on the show because they
Right.
found what they've shared is so valuable. So I'm sure that you'll get some emails from
So that
other.
training program of mine is I teach the whole IME aspect of it, but I open every single part of my business. I pretty much almost did the same thing with you today, but I'll even show my bills, my numbers, my invoices. I'll
Yeah,
send my chronologies. There's
yeah,
nothing that I keep. Anybody who takes my training, there's nothing I keep behind the
yeah.
wall.
You're super
It's an
transparent.
open book.
I love that.
You know.
I
Yeah.
love that because we're in a world where not everybody is super transparent,
Right. And
and
that's what I
there's
want.
a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
gatekeeping. So
No. No.
that's
I have
really
nothing to
nice.
hide.
Yeah, and that's the way I honestly I love business. I've run businesses before this
Right.
and can appreciate that, because in my past businesses, that's how I've always run, is just be open and honest and share it. Everybody wins.
Right.
Everybody wins. Just like this podcast, my only intention is to, share your story, but obviously I'm listening and I get to ask the questions. So I benefit from that. You benefit, everybody wins,
It's a win-win.
so it's a
Yes.
win-win. So I appreciate you spending your time with us. I appreciate you sharing that with the listeners, and all of the tips that you've shared, including the tips that I've put in my own pocket. So I'm sure that everybody
Perfect.
else will do the same. So,
My email is timkane@medicallegalconnection.com.
yep.
I'm sure everybody has seen it 20,000 times.
And they can find you on LinkedIn.
They
And are
can.
you anywhere else?
No, that's pretty
YouTube?
well, I do have a YouTube channel that I gotta boost back up, but it's
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But they've got
Yeah.
your email and they can find you on LinkedIn and Facebook
Correct.
and all that. And you
Right.
have your own group, right?
Right, and there's 3,500 LNCs in there.
Yeah.
So what? No one should say no to a case. If you're having trouble with a case, throw it out in that group, and we're all going to dive in and
That's
try to
awesome.
help. And I'm sure free of charge. I would think for the
Yeah.
most part, just with
Yeah.
little comments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Appreciate that. That's
yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much. I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
your time. Everybody reach out, say hi to Tim, tell him thank you.
Oh,
And I will see you later. So thanks so much.
oh, sounds good.